Today, we want to hear about the journey with Linus, okay? From diagnosis through challenges, through breakthrough and hope. And maybe I'll start with this. How I found out about Linus' story actually was just 2 months ago. And I know Linus for quite a while already. You know, we actually go to the same church. I think he worked for a period of time in Victory Academy in this school, actually as one of the teachers. And for those of us who know Linus, maybe we'll probably think like, okay lah, maybe he's a little bit, sometimes, I wouldn't use the word weird, maybe a bit different, you know, but generally quite okay. And I would never imagine that he had any form of diagnosis or any form of like autism or ASD. But one day he suddenly texts me and say, hey, you know, Alvin, I want to get involved with the society and I want to, I want to, see what I can do lah. Then I'm like, normally when people ask you this question, you're very curious lah. You want to ask why, right? Because you don't know anything about them. Most of the time, people who are involved in special needs is either you are educator, meaning you have direct contact, or it's a family member, or you have, if not, you wouldn't really care one, or you wouldn't really know much about it. So I was curious, and of course I asked him, and he bravely told me that, hey, I was actually diagnosed when I was young. Of course, when someone says that, I also very skeptical, so I had to do my due diligence. So we actually had a long 2-hour conversation over the phone, and I asked him all the questions. Who diagnosed you? How old were you? What did your parents do? All these different things. Because at the end of the day, you can claim to be anything today, right? And somehow, unfortunately, because of social media, being autistic is cool to some circles. Okay, some of you might not agree with me, but there are some circles that somehow, if you have that label, it's a cool thing. So I also want to make sure I do my due diligence. And from the story and everything, I also asked him, why now tell? Why now let us know? And we'll probably find out a little bit more about that later, because he said, oh, actually, I didn't want to say anything. When I came here and study and I got to know you all, I was very quiet about it. But recently, he felt the need to want to do something, because he is also someone that is now, as different parents here would want to hear, wow, now you're studying PhD, and you have ASD1, last time when you're young, how? Because all we see is our child who's 5 or 10 or 11, and we're like, this guy can't even eat properly or can't even go to the toilet properly. How? What happened? So we want to know Linus's story, okay? From challenges to breakthrough and to hope. So maybe a question to the parents first, okay? And you got a microphone there so you can take, okay? How did you first realize that Linus was different? And what was it like receiving the Asperger's diagnosis? Anybody can start.
Okay. When Linus in his kindy years, the teacher already told me that I think your son is he's having some syndromes, and I don't know what is that, and I totally don't know what is that, and I just ignore. So he continued to standard 1.
What year was this?
When he was in kindy.
Kindy was
I think when he was 5 or 6.
5 or 6. How long ago was that?
About 20 years ago.
Wow, 20. So about 2005.
Roughly 2005. Roughly.
Okay.
And then he go on to standard 1 and standard 2. But he really faced a real big challenge, especially during, the year standard 2 started onwards. Because I realized that he started to heal his fingers. Initially was 1 or 2. I thought he was picking up some habits. But after a while, he started to peel all 10 fingers. And really peel off. So I started to worry, and I really stop him, don't do. So one day, I just asked him, you peel off 10 of your fingers, you don't feel pain? He told me, no. That really shocked me, really worried me. So I really don't know what to do. And I asked some of my friends, those friends they are homeschooling their children. So they said maybe he's having some stress, or maybe you would like to take him to see a psychiatrist, So I really don't know what to do, because about 18 to 19 years ago, autistic or Asperger is very, very, you hardly can hear what is this. Totally new to me, even though those time I study counseling before, but I don't know about this thing. But until when I see him really suffer in school, struggle to understand the body language of the teacher, and teacher also don't understand him, until one day he come home, he told me, Mom, today the teacher take the book and slam on my face. That is my limit already. That's my limit. I cannot take it already. I said, no, I have to do something already. But deep down in my heart, I'm crying because I don't know what to do. So, but the God that I believe, that time I know I prayed, but really there's an open door. Suddenly, one day I received a brochure that talking about this doctor from GH. He's giving a talk, a one whole day talk, how to handle your adolescents and your special needs, young kids. So I just think of why out of the blue this thing come to me, So okay, I don't care already, even though it's a Saturday full day. Okay, I must go. I told my husband that you stay home and take care of Linus. I must go, So from there,
Like some of the parents here probably today, I must be here. You take care of my
So during that one day training, I get to know this doctor, Dr. Lai Feng Hua from Penang GH. He is the head of psychiatry of adolescents and young kids. So I really think that the conference actually is meant for me. Even though it's so many participants, really meant for me. Because usually during the conference, when tea time or lunchtime, everyone will, go to the speaker and talk to him. But very funny, during the conference, no one talked to Dr. Lai, only me. That's why I say that conference is meant for me. I get to talk to him from everything. I told him about my son, the symptom, what he's doing. So I told him, I suspect my son has this syndrome. He said, actually, you get it quite right. So immediately he told me, bring your son, come and see me tomorrow or the next day. I will tell my nurse, I'm expecting you. Because if you go to GH before, there are many procedures you cannot start, so straight away can see the head psychiatrist. So I quickly go to my son, the doctor. I told her, can you please just write me a referral letter so that I can go to GH and see Dr. Lai? I told the doctor. But the doctor said, no, I see him so many years. He's got no issue. He got no problem. I said, never mind, please write me a letter, So, but she's graciously write me a letter. So the next day, I brought my son to see Dr. Lai. And Dr. Lai spent almost 4 hours playing with him. That time he was actually 8 plus. Spent about 4 hours to play with him, diagnose him. The final result is he is high functioning Asperger. That means now, today terms is autistic level 1. But when I first heard the news, I was shocked. I say, why, is it in him?
Why our son?
You want to add anything to that? Why our son?
When the things come to us, it's a real shock to us. We didn't expect our son to be any different with other kids. So, the first question came to me, why he? But we move on from that.
Yeah, actually the shock moment and the sad moment, I pass very fast because my response immediately is, I must do something to help him. I cannot see, he continue to peel his finger and to stop there. So immediately I asked Dr. Lai to help me. What can I do? But this doctor is fantastic. He prepared everything for me that, he said, okay, you join this. I write letter for you to go this, So, and then he prepared the letter how to protect my son. Because those days in primary school, I will try to pull him up. I told the doctor, because I see his condition, I'm thinking of wanted to homeschool him. Then the school start to give me a lot of pressure. Especially the first 2 weeks when I pull him out, the headmaster and the so-called the not dean, I forgot the name of the teachers, physician. Two of them keep calling me, like threatening me. He said, do you know that you pull your son out, you are illegal. I can make a police report. All these are adding a lot of stress to me. Those days, because my husband is the only breadwinner, so I try not to like give him a lot of all this stress. I bear everything on my own shoulder. I just told him roughly what we are going through. So Dr. Lai really helped me go through this. So through the organization that he suggested me to email them, and they send me email constantly that I learn through their email because they have like support, So I learned from their individual experience about what is autistic, how to handle autistic.
Where's this organization from? And why email?
Because 18, 19 years ago in Malaysia, I really can't find, especially in Penang, I don't hear of any support group, And this small group, basically all of them are parents. They are from Australia, which Dr. Lai, they have contacts. So I just write to them and they just like subscribe me into their weekly update. The weekly update is very, very detailed. Those time, like individual families, the case, and they tell you what the parents experience and and the group and the parents, other parents try to step in to support, which I basically all learn from there.
Wow, such dedication. Email every week, like no WhatsApp, no Facebook. This is like reading email.
Yes.
Wow, cool. I just want to pause for a moment and ask Linus. I know you mentioned just now you probably blocked the trauma about the book in the face. I first time hearing that, But do you remember those days, Linus? And like what was going through your mind? Yeah.
I think I remember, maybe I backtrack because my mom mentioned from when I was young, I was developing many habits that admittedly in my mind at that time, I didn't really understand as well why. And whenever my mom asked why, truth be told, I couldn't really answer because I didn't know. There wasn't really a reason. It just felt right to some degree. And later on, when I was around 11 years old, I believe my mom refreshed me recently that but I always remembered this key memory. I just couldn't remember what age was that when I was young. My mom told me that, hey, you have this syndrome. At that age, at time, all I knew was that I was different. I didn't know exactly how because as a child, my understanding was limited. It wasn't until many years later when I grew into, in fact, I would say only recently, maybe 1.5 years ago, where I really came into it. Really came to a full understanding, a full picture of who I am, what I have, and came to accept that part of my identity, I would say. Yeah.
Cool. So, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced, like in this journey? I'm sure there are different challenges, right? But and it can sounds like Wai Ling, you are more involved in a way, very hands on, which is great. And also being a good wife by not bothering your husband, so he can bring in the thing, he can hear that. But maybe as a family, like, were there any challenges you faced? You already mentioned something about the school, not even understanding. Of course, in the year 2000, when I say 2005, I'm like, as though like 1990s, but actually 2000 is not too long ago. Yet the awareness of autism is not there. But now we do admit that there is more awareness, there is more resources, people are more open to it. But I can just imagine those days, because even my own story also didn't start so long ago. You are like the pioneer in a way, But what were the challenges you faced as a family while raising Linus through childhood and teenage years? I probably won't ask him much because I can hear he cannot remember. You're probably prepared a pretty good environment that he don't think that he had any challenge. But for both of you, yeah.
For me, when I told my parents and my brother that we diagnosed Linus, first thing I got from them is they totally reject what we have acted. And to them, see a psychiatrist is like, we thought my grandson is a crazy it, that kind of pressure, and my brother totally very angry with me, and he actually scolded me. Actually scolded. So my father didn't talk to me for quite a while due to this incident. And to them, he's just a normal kid.
Okay, that is the family side. But my family, they have not much comments. They accept. But among our friend circle, we really face challenges because many of them, they watch him, growing up from a baby. They don't think he has any issue. When I told them we are going to put him up for homeschooling, many of them are giving us this treatment. They said, how can you jeopardize your son's childhood? How can you just pull him up from a normal school and do, this thing, this syllabus that no one really know, like not many people not commonly know. How can you do this? You jeopardize your son's future, all this. And many of them, our very, very good friend, they're distant from us, they're distant from us. But deep down in my heart, I just want to do something right for my son. I don't pursue, I know how they should respond, but I just continue to go ahead and let him do the homeschool syllabus.
Wow. Sounds like something very difficult, almost like immediate. I think the word we use is ostracized by friends and family of all people. But were you able to find any form of support? Or I guess the best support you had was just each other. And of course, Dr. Lai.
We have quite a few families that time, friends, they are doing homeschool. They affirm us that don't worry about how the school call you and threaten you. As long as you give your child, your son, education, you are not illegal. You are doing the right thing. So even Dr. Lai supported that. Go ahead, you should do it. You should do it. But after about 6 months, we really see what we did is really right. Because the time when he was in standard 1 and standard 2, he really struggled. Initially, I didn't know because I thought the best thing for him is he can learn all 3 languages. The best thing for him. But I didn't know that actually handling more languages to him is a big challenge. So after 6 months, when he was in the homeschool syllabus, he finished almost within a year. He finished almost 3 years of the syllabus. This really shocked the center and shocked myself because in the primary school, Chinese primary school, I struggle to make sure that he can follow up. If you have your children in Chinese primary school, you have to make sure he remember a lot of things. And I got my hypertension because of that.
I thought
Linus, you gave your mom hypertension.
Because every week you have so many things you have to make sure he remember. And his condition is he cannot remember. His condition is he have to understand, only he can remember. That's why he can pick up 3 years of syllabus within a year when he did the homeschool syllabus. Why? Because only in one language, his own mother tongue, English, and he really enjoyed the syllabus because the syllabus explained to him what he is learning. So he really enjoyed studying. That's why he can, excel. I mean, very fast.
I was going to ask what challenges you mentioned, but it sounds like academic progress was a key challenge, but like you said, once he found the right fit, it was very fast. So I guess it's about finding the right fit, not exactly about what we should do or what other people tell us, or it must be this school, or you're jeopardizing. I think the one thing I can learn from you all here is that if you are clear as a parent, what will help your child, and you've seen the areas where, it's very interesting because as you're sharing, a lot of people look at him and say, you're okay. I mean, that's the same thing I thought. Yeah, Linus okay. No issue, but super high functioning lah, right? You don't know what's happening in the background. Is there any other thing you want to share?
Yeah. Okay. Initially, when I read to Linus, I he wasn't concentrate at all. He just play, jump, and
How old is this? Not now, right? So, last year when he was like
yeah. So 6 or 7.
6, 7 years old. Okay, yeah.
So I have to think of a way how to get him more focused. So I link the story with the favorite cartoon character from Toy Story or so. So try to make the reading more interesting in that in a way. So yeah, it's thank God it's work it work and yeah I try he's actually more focused.
Sounds like you're applying ABA without knowing it, no? Huh? Where's Doctor? Correct?
Actually-
He's applying ABA using something he's interested in to teach him something. Behavior, what was it? The ABCs just now. Yeah. We guys learned. Yeah, I was paying attention. That's cool. That's so cool.
Actually, when he was younger, when he can't really sit still, that time I told myself, I wanted to, how to say, started him to start to read. So my husband is the best supporter, you know. He basically will do what I tell him to do to him. You know.
Just follow me.
Yeah,
No question.
It's so easier to take orders, isn't it?
when he comes back from work, he already so tired. So I cannot expect him to go and read and study something and then go and apply. I immediately give him the answer so he can do. Those days, but after he was diagnosed, his main job is to every evening spend about 2 hours with him. 2 of them only in the room. I'm not involved at all.
Why? Why?
Because I want my husband to play the father figure in him. So I will tell him like, you do this. Because those days, we have a set of a book called Character Sketches. It's talking about characters, 49 characters linked to the animals. It's very interesting. So he loves it. So my husband will read the one characters to him every night, try to read to him, but he will move around in the room, you know. And then sometimes he purposely read wrongly. Surprisingly, he found, hey, it's not like that. He will tell the father.
He's paying attention, testing him.
Even though he is moving around, but
He actually heard. He actually
heard,
heard.
you know.
Yeah.
But he is the best supporter. You know, basically what I tell him to do, he will do. Those days, when he come home from work, open the door, he see me smiling, he okay. When he see my face, he will say, "What your son do to you?" The first thing, "What your son do to you?" So usually I will tell him, he's like that. After you go and talk to him, this. Okay, you do this to him. He said, "Okay." Basically, we went through many years of those
Wow.
days.
Wow.
Over the years, when I was young, especially, I wasn't aware of much. But as I grew older, my parents shared with me a little bit more and more. But I think even today is the first time for me hearing a lot of these in person, and I'm just so thankful because now recalling memories when I was young, I always remembered that I never really felt alone because my parents were always present there with me, even in times of difficulty, even when we don't understand. Sometimes the presence is such a big impact. I mean, it's not as easy as it sounds. Over the years, communication was something that we struggled to learn. I struggled to learn how to communicate with them, and I'm sure it's vice versa as well. So throughout the years, I'm really glad that you guys stuck around and really reminded me that I was loved, reminded me that you guys cared. The amount of things you guys endured for my sake is really the reason why I'm able to stand here today, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the parents' involvement in the life is very important. That's why every little that we do. And I'm just curious, like all this, like, now we can say, oh, the program, what program you use, or what therapy, or is it ABA, BBA, CBA, whatever A. Where do you learn all these things, It, I don't know, it was there anybody that gave you some program or you just did what you know? I'm so curious. Yeah.
Oh, because when Linus was diagnosed that time, there are two things that are very obvious on him. One is he cannot read your body language. Like if you are, doing something to show him, show your face, he doesn't understand. Okay. Another thing is his understanding of level of danger is very low.
No safety awareness. Yes, quite normal.
He can't cross the road when he was younger. Okay. Even though until today, if you are very close to him, when you walk with him, cross the road, sometimes you will still see some funny reaction. Okay. But he is improving. By learning. Okay. Those days when I pick him up from the school, from the center, learning center, when we stop our car in front of the traffic light, the thing that I will play with him is I will ask him, okay, now we are here. Can you please tell me when I want to cross from there, over there, how to cross? Then in the car, he will try to tell me how to cross. So if he tell wrongly, then go home, take the paper, draw, and tell him how he should go. No, you cannot go this way, you have to go this way. But this thing repeats for many years because the data you need to put in one time cannot. It's multiple times. We play this game many, many years on the road.
Yeah, but thanks for sharing that. So my curiosity is, where did you learn how to do this? Was it through the emails?
Myself, because that time I don't have this community.
Yeah.
Because since he cannot cross the road, I must think of it. Because I remember, when I learned how to drive, I went through the undang. What you should do, what you shouldn't do, right? My idea is come from the undang. So that's why I think, initially he didn't get what I want when I asked him. But after a while, I explained to him. Then after a while, then he will respond. Respond. Sometimes he got it right. Sometimes he got it wrong. Wrong, then go home and draw.
Yeah. It sounds like you just have two parents that just really want to help their kid. And you were finding ways, and you had, of course, some knowledge from some emails. I'm just curious, do you go and do any self-study? Did you read? Did you go for talks? Did all this happen?
Not so many talks. 18, 19 years ago, hardly you can have, autism talk or whatever talk. Talk concerning these special needs. Many are reading. And those days, even internet also not much information about this. A lot of time is try and error. When we try, like his response is like, cannot. We feel like he cannot take it. Then we say no, cannot. Then we change. Basically, it's talent.
Our main focus is to help Linus to be independent because we can't be with him forever, and he's the only child. Don't have any sibling to help him, so our focus is very much on how to help him to be independent.
That's good. So how to help him to be independent? Because I know a lot of parents, the focus always is academic. That's the key focus most of the time. And when you talk about being independent, like life skills are not very important, or most of the time, mommy, daddy do for you. Even normal kids. So it's very interesting that you had that focus that you want to help him to be independent and you try to find ways to help him in those areas. But I have a question of like, actually the initial question was, what's your goal? You kind of answered that. But wasn't things like academic important, like all the other things? Like where was that in terms of like priority and ranking?
From very young, we know that he is a reader. So in reading, we no worries about it. I know he can read whatever books you throw to him, he can read. So those days when he was younger, if you want him to be sit with us for long hours, I have to bring quite a few, 3 or 4 new books that he never needs before with me. So I will take up one after finish already, one, So like to make him sit still. Though that thing one of the way that
So reading is his thing.
yeah.
Um,
Secondly is because I want him to be, because from after he was diagnosed, our goal is we wanted him to be able to live on his own without us. This is our main aim. So from there, I know not only academic, but life skill and communication. Like life skill, like we started from home, do the housework, house chore, and we started to involve him.
how young was he?
9.
9 years old, have to do
Yes.
house chores already.
Yes.
I must learn from you. I got 2
9.
kids, 10 and 12.
Yeah.
So far, one jadi, another one. My wife is doing it, trying very hard, but yeah,
Not easy.
not easy. Okay.
Yeah, not easy. So another thing is the communication. Like, because he can't read body language. And if you ask him a question that he know very well, you have to stay with him for 1-2 hours if you can. Okay. So those days when he was younger, I always remind him, when you talk, please add comma and full stop.
Nowadays, have to say the same thing or not?
Once in a while. But he improved. Each time when he meet up friends or he go to a small group gathering or what, before he leave the car, please remember full stop and comma, okay? So because I don't want people to how to say, distance him, because why this guy talk so long, never stop, So I want him to be able to blend in, people will listen to him. So, but after so many years, he really improved.
Wow. So, looking back, and don't worry, I know I let your parents talk a lot. I'll come to you soon, okay? So, as a family, right, what are the important lessons you've learned, as husband, as wife, as a family, that you want to share with other parents here and children here who may be going on a similar journey? You mentioned about life skills. You want him to be independent. And of course, you've done it. So, is there any lesson you've learned or any, I don't know, tips and tricks? Some people like tips and tricks nowadays, right? That you can share with us that you've learned through this journey.
Okay. Many young families, it's not surprised that you teach your young kids, say please and thank you. But in our family from young, we practice please and thank you, and we practice I'm sorry, please forgive me. This one later on when as he growing up, we find it so important. And the fourth thing, which I think is until recent years only, he told me, the fourth thing is I believe in discipline. We started discipline also very young, when he was very young. Even though after he diagnosed.
You say discipline means punishment or discipline means follow the rules?
Cane.
Okay. So punishment. Okay. I just need to clarify that.
Because I believe even though a child with autistic, even level 1, level 2, level 3, also have different level of discipline that we must hold firm. Or else you cannot see, to our personal experience, you won't see the improvement or what you try to implement. It's very hard. But discipline really helps.
I guess the other word we can use is consequences, right, Dr. Ho? See, I'm trying to navigate that consequences.
Like the after the first semester, when we send him, officially leave us, send him to the unit.
How do you feel?
I cannot, because 19 years was with me and it's so close.
Wow. Okay.
And it's really hard, actually the moment until today is still very fresh, as our car make a U-turn from his, hall, the hall. It's so hard. I'm not a crying person, but my tears drop. Then my husband, you cry? Then I said, yeah. I said, set up because it's my, never leave my side. But after one semester finished, he come home. The first thing he told us, Mom, Dad, I want to thank you for you disciplined me when I was young. This is the effect that after one semester when he was in uni, come home. Then I was like, oh, why? He said, and thank you us for training him to do the, how to live on his own. He said when he go to his friend's room, he said, Mom, do you know, my friend said, when they come to my room, do I have a maid?
I'm the maid, right?
And then he told me, when I go to my friend's room, sometimes I can't even find a place to sit. Don't know. I said, why? Because their clothes all over the room, he told me. Actually, he learned how to fold the clothes just few months before he left us. I mean, he go to uni, but he learned out.
Wow. I want to go back to what you mentioned about please and thank you and sorry. Why is sorry important? How is that significant for you as a family specialist?
Because I myself, I think that not only the child will need to say sorry to us. Sometimes when we are desperate, we will overdo what we want to do. So sometimes like when we discipline him, after that, we will talk each session after discipline, whether the father, most of the time he talk because I cannot. So I will sit beside him. After he talk and he will tell him why we discipline you and ask whether he agree or not. Then after that, if I overdo it or I talk so loud, I apologize for what I have done. I want him, I apologize to him. And when he was younger, I will ask him, can you forgive me?
Consolation session.
Each time after the discipline, we will have this session.
Why is that important, you feel?
As a family, because it's simply we got to be truthful to each other.
Wow.
To him is this one, because I'm a Cantonese, right? To me is, I always heard my father say last time when I was young, if you are a real good person, you must be nang wat nang san. That means you can bend, straight or you fall also can. So, so I think someone willing to be, apologize, and you have to really put yourself down. That is a very, very important step, I think.
And I think you became good role models for your son because he sees that, right? I'm guessing. So Linus, back to you now. Segue to you. You hear all your parents sharing this, probably first, second time, or what? What were your challenges growing up that you can remember?
Wow. First, I really want to acknowledge something that my parents really did was, yes, of course, when they taught me, I think I never really shared with them how powerful and how personal it was for me when they apologized. Because to me as a kid, after being disciplined or experiencing troubles, not fully understanding things, I really struggled with why and everything. But my parents came and they apologized. And when they said that, I can still remember to this day because it rings in my head that they're also trying to work it out. That maybe they also don't know it all. And it brought us a lot of peace and a lot of, I'm not sure what the best word to use is, but assurance perhaps. Assurance that they were walking with me through this journey, that I wasn't alone. And I, of course, learned how to say that, of course, over the years. I had no shame about it, actually, because my parents had no shame to apologize when they needed to. And that's something that I really caught from them, really learned from them. So thank you guys for doing that. Yeah. Challenges, personal challenges when I grew up. I think my mom mentioned a lot about body language. So one thing that I realized, especially now as an adult, reflecting back on my younger years, was that I was really emotionally blind. So there's this concept in autism that's called, I think it's called really emotional blindness. So we don't relate to people the same way that other people do. So I tell my friends these days that I don't really have the same empathy sense that other people do. And people these days will be surprised. They'll say, but we can see you're caring. We can see that you're willing to look after people. And I also didn't really fully understand how I was able to do it over the years. For me, I really thought it must be God or it must be the grace of God. But when I read up a little bit more, I realized that the process by which I do this is not really on the emotional spectrum. It relates to the intellectual spectrum first, where I recall from past experiences, okay, I've seen this person with this face. I equate this face to this experience. And then I can recall and sort of guess what they're feeling at the moment. So to this day, I still go through this process. And by the grace of God, I was able to learn it more and more every day. And from there, be able to interact with people more accurately, more peaceably, and sometimes having to hold my words as well. That's why sometimes friends ask me, wow, you're very quiet these days. Huh? I say there's a reason for it. Yeah.
Full stop, full stop.
Yeah. It's necessary for some cases. So, but that has helped me a lot as well. So relationships, it was a struggle, but I thank God that I struggled, because I rather have struggled and got to where I am now than not having struggled and having been stuck there all those years, not being able to form meaningful relationships today. Yeah.
That's very interesting. I mean, because for someone who may not be in the spectrum, you look at people's faces and immediately feelings, or the person's sad and all. I mean, I remember this scene from the Netflix drama, Extraordinary Attorney Woo, if you watch. Every morning, the father will show the daughter, this one is sad, this one is happy, this one is whatever. And we don't understand, because you should know, right? But I find that what you're sharing is pretty interesting, because for someone like me, I won't be able to get it. But for you, it's very, like you said, you are recognizing not based on the emotion or the sound or the body language. You're recognizing based on what you see, the data, and I think that's something we need to take note of, because knowing that humans are very emotional, sometimes we take offense. That's why I kind of like what you said about saying sorry. Like if let's say you're dealing with a individual in the spectrum, actually the person it's not like the person's angry at you, right? But because you feel the person's a bit rude, then you feel like, hey, why are you so rude? But actually, to the person, it's like, no, I'm just not talking to you, or whatever reason. But it's I think it's an important note for us to take note. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So I want to go back to when you found out about your diagnosis when you were 11. How do you feel, and how did it shape your growing years?
Knowing the diagnosis, knowing that I was different, made me realize that I didn't exactly have to do it the way that other people did. Of course, it wasn't easy. It's easier said than done. I'm really glad because my parents were honest with me, because at least I knew there was a reason. Maybe I didn't know the entire reason because I was still learning about what autism was when I was growing up, and I didn't grasp the concept more fully until I was older. But knowing that there was a reason gave a lot of peace, because when I encountered struggles, when I realized that maybe I'm the only one who understands, at least I knew there was a reason. There wasn't really a point where I questioned and didn't really know why. I knew there was. Maybe I just didn't know 100% why. And over the years, that shaped me. I'll be very honest. I'll be very frank in the room. I was quite resentful when I was young, because me as a Christian growing up, I believed that I was great. I believe I was created. So from there, I began to question okay, so why am I not made like other people? Why am I not like the person next to me? And that built a lot of resentment over years. But growing up, that point of coming to a place where I was able to understand the condition fully, it was also a struggle. But in recent years, thanks to the support of friends, support of community, and the surprising power of being honest with people and choosing to believe that people can understand if you try to explain to them, and of course, the right support, the right community, I found that it wasn't something that I needed to be ashamed of. And because of that, I was able to accept it more. I think earlier, many people talked about acceptance. being an important part for the parents. But I realized growing up that acceptance was important for me as well as a person who was diagnosed with it, who grew up with it. And to this day, still working with it, accepting it as a part of who I am, a unique identity of who I am, helped me so much to grow exponentially on my emotional side as well. So, yeah, I would say that's the overall picture. I could say so much more, but it would take a lot of time. So, I will hand it back to you.
Yeah, for another episode lah. Sorry. Oh yeah, he just added a comma. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll probably hear from you more. I'm sure some of us here are curious. What inspired you to pursue biology and biochemical, and also do PhD? I mean, of course, we know that you can study 3 years in 1 year. A lot of us can't do that. Anyway, yeah, but why? What made you decide?
This is a question that a lot of people ask, especially when they first heard, oh, you're doing a PhD. Oh man, you must be crazy smart. But actually, if you walk into the PhD office, you realize that all of us are just like barely holding it over our heads. Well, hallelujah. literally. But I think the most surprising thing to most people is that I didn't really choose to study biology because I love it. I chose it because it was the most straightforward that I thought I could do. The reason why I wanted to do PhD was actually more to enter academia, especially into lecturing. I recognize having perhaps some of the best formative years of my life in campus days that while there were many people who were caring for students, whether it's from church or lecturers who cared, there's also a huge number of people who didn't care or mistreated students even. And there were so many students who had that need for a mentor figure or someone who would care for them, someone who would love them even as they teach. And I recognize that deep need in the academic world. So me having grown up, I did bio. I did bio because I think I liked it, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. It was only towards the end of my undergraduate that I realized that, hey, I think I want to teach. I want to teach specifically in universities because I felt there was this deep need for a caring community for our students. And if not me, if not people who cared, who else would take up that spot to continue caring for students? So that's why I decided to pursue my PhD. And yeah.
Wow. What gave you that drive to want to care for students? So basically, you are that smart to the point that you're just doing biology and biochemical. Sorry, I'm catching different things here. Just to care for students, But what gave you that desire? Yeah.
I think it was the blessing over my life that I had many people who cared for me. I watched the effort that they gave, lecturers who cared, and I could see how effective they were. And of course, I saw lecturers who didn't care, and I saw how detrimental they could be to my friends' mental health. And I realized that the people who cared really were inspiring to me, and I wanted to emulate that and pass that down. You could say I caught that spirit from them, from the different ones who invested in me, cared for me, and helped me to grow. My parents included.
Wow. It's just so amazing to hear that, guys, because you're talking about someone who is emotionally blind. I don't know whether you're catching it, I'm catching it, Yet, wanting to care for people. And that to me is amazing, So, I know I don't have a lot of time. My wife is flashing me. I only have a little bit of time. So, last question, and maybe we'll open some time for Q&A. Maybe 1 or 2 questions from the crowd if you have. So, you can start thinking now already. But, we probably won't be able to answer everything now. So, what gives you hope for the future? Or more like, what can you share with the parents and teachers here in this? Because you have walked the walk, you've done your part, all the trial and error you've done, Linus is independent. Okay, can we give them a hand for doing that? Right? Amazing story. And we need more Malaysian stories like this. But what is your encouragement to people out there? Maybe each can share, as a father, mom, and Linus, yourself, to other individuals or people helping people like you.
I think first of all, we have to acknowledge and accept that our kid is special, and we got to find ways to help him or her. And because if we don't, we are not qualified as
Last year, we have a opportunity to organize autism awareness in our church, and I was able to invite the doctor that diagnosed Linus to come and give us a talk. And the most recent data that he updated, the participant was that for autism level 1 or even ADHD level 1, the most recent data that collect was through unlearn, relearn, and correction, the patient can be well, not cure, well. That means this person can live on his own as you continue to guide this person to unlearn, relearn, and correction. Okay, so this is really encouraging because a lot of parents, especially us, when we know that autism, there are no cure. Basically there are no cure. But as the data collected, the most recent data collected that show that to relearn and correction, you can help the person to be well. This is really encouraging, and I hope, in near future and time to come, that we will be able to have more opportunity to share our lives, to encourage more people, to affirm them. As long as you are willing to do it, you can make a difference in your child's life.
Wow, amazing.
I think for me, one thing that really brought me hope was that communication isn't dead. I would say this is that oftentimes, especially speaking as a person on the spectrum, it's really difficult to imagine that a person who is not on the spectrum will be willing to accept. But one thing that I found through trying to say and trying to tell people that, hey, I'm actually on the spectrum, I'm experiencing this in daily life. And then the number of friends who have been encouraging, who have told me, hey, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for being honest. And the strengthening of relationships we came from there gave me a lot of hope, because oftentimes there's a lot of fear that if I expose, if I say, if I uncover, maybe I'll be ostracized, maybe I'll be rejected. But I've been really blessed because I had a lot of friendships that proved stronger, because when I was honest, they could understand where I was coming from. When I dared to say, hey, I'm actually on the spectrum, even though they didn't understand before, they slowly came to understand. I think there's a sense of humanity that is the better side of which is that resilience to understand, the resilience to continue on. We can't control who will stick with us and who won't. But the truth is, if we don't say or if we don't communicate, we'll never know who is really on our side. But when we are honest about who we are and what God made me to be with other people, I realized that I found out who really was willing to stay, and those were really precious relationships to this day. So I'm really thankful for that, and I encourage everyone. You never know until you try. You never know until you've tried, and maybe you'll be surprised by that. So that's what's given me a lot of hope, and I'm continuing to hope for more of that in the future. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Indeed, it's an amazing story, about how a parent's resilience and wanting to help their child, inadvertently also doing ABA and all these other things that we are learning here today, just wanting to help their child progress, has helped their child progress. Maybe just a bit of background, I think you all didn't send for any therapy or speech. You kind of did it at home, lah.
I did send him when Dr. Lai recommended. But when I went to the center, there are so many kids there. They need the attention of the therapists. Basically, those time they don't have one-to-one. So I think he get nothing from there. So I think I will do it at home better. Because when he go there, he just like sit there and don't know what to do, because too many.
Yeah. And then, of course, I'm aware that you took him to homeschool after that and he progressed. And of course, now he's studying PhD and all that kind of stuff. Cool. Yeah, so thanks so much for sharing the story. I think do we have time for questions? Okay, maybe we'll take 2 questions. If you all have. Okay, I see one hand go up already. So maybe I'll pass you my mic and then just one more question and then, yeah.
Thank you. First of all, really thank you for the very, very inspiring story. I think it was really encouraging. And really salute to both the parents for that determination, that strength in you, that resilience. Yeah, really. I wouldn't want to take the quota of 2 questions, but I really have 2 questions. I have a little girl aged 6. Yeah, and we found out that she has autism. And we didn't stop her from, she has also definitely an elder sister, and they are very much into their gadgets. Right? I think in this era, just couldn't stop them from following the trend, right? And what worries me a bit was when you mentioned they couldn't recognize danger. And I've always see how, like these days, Roblox, they jump from one building to another, right? And, you still don't fall and you don't die, per se, in the game. So, I just want to get some tips and tricks as to, how do you manage this? I'm not sure if, if you stop Linus from going to social media back then when social media and games were introduced. Yeah, that was one. And the other one was about friends, right? It's really nice to hear how Linus meets great friends. He was open about it. He was honest of his condition and they treated him genuinely. But how do you spot friends that are taking advantage of his honesty? Right? And not many would be so sincere at heart, right? So how do you recognize these signs and symptoms? Thank you.
Okay, I answer the question 2 first about friends. When he was younger, basically he is more like a loner, because he is a reader from young. So whatever in his brain is very far, considered quite far from his peers group. He will think his peer group very childish. He cannot get along with them because he is very far away. So that also make me very worried. I said, how to, when we send him to the uni at the time, I really, really pray very hard. I tell you that God will send him sincere friend, because that is my worry. But I really, really thank God. After 1 year, when we see him in the uni, we walk around the uni. He took us to have lunch. But as we walk around in the uni, almost everyone that we come across us, people will call, "Hi, Linus." Then I ask him, "Who is that?" I cannot remember. Almost everyone know. Some he remember. Most of them. I think how come? How come people call you? You don't know? He said, "Don't know why. How they just know me." He said, this one, basically, I don't really involve a lot in choosing and determine which friend to stay. This one is all by his own. That means he really like try and error, try which one is sincere friend. But one thing I really thank God that sent him really a lot of true and sincere friend. Okay. The first question, gadget. Actually, I'm a game person. I love game, okay?
Wow. She's
More
famous
tech savvy than I am.
So you have to limit her, no?
Yeah. I tell her, go sleep at night.
I started, my husband said I spoil him. I started to give him, those days are Game Boy. Game Boy, start with the small one, square. And then later on, Sony PSP. He has version 1, version 2, whatever new I buy. But I have him to sign the contract. I have the contract. I list out, when can play, when cannot play. You can carry with you to church. The moment when you enter the sanctuary, you cannot touch. I will have him sit down, both of us sit down and have a witness. Okay, he read everything, he agree, he sign, we sign, the witness sign. He one copy, he one copy, the witness one copy. But it's really help. It's really help. I didn't give him a phone until he was 13. Then only he owned his phone because
Nokia 3310.
Cannot do anything on
Yeah.
but because
Good self-defense.
he need, but what if for short while after that you got an iPhone? Okay, because when the thing is because the learning center, the teacher asked, Linus got a phone because we are doing a group project, we need to add him into the group. Alamak. Then we have to give him, from then, because then only I give him the phone and also come with the contract. But the contract, it was, because those days he was still young, served as a guideline. But now he know when to use it, all this. But I think, oh no, I monitor what game he play. Because I'm a game person, I know. So I monitor what game he play. I don't allow him to have those killing, a lot of blood, all these things, Basically, my game mainly.
So it sounded like structure. I'm looking at him again because I remember his slides. And a schedule. And regulations. Remember we talked about regulation? Setting the structure in the beginning. So I think if you didn't set the structure in the beginning, difficult. But once you set the structure in the beginning, then you've got this lah. Yeah. But thanks so much for sharing.
Thanks, Mom. Just to encourage, since you mentioned about friendships for your daughter, especially, I remember when I was young, also my parents really didn't interfere a lot in my friendship making process. It was an interesting time because, of course, growing up with emotional blindness, and I think just like any other child, we don't form perfect friendships on day one. We take time, and sometimes we don't always make friends with the best people. I remember to this day in primary school, some of the friends that I was closest with, and I realized later also I was part of the bully gang. I had no clue. I only realized later on, oh wait, was I a bully? Oh my goodness. I realized later, I was like, and I repented. I was like, oh, sorry. Yeah. So my encouragement to you is that your daughter, just like I did when I grew up, will find her own way to make friends. She'll find the people that she wants to spend around them. Just like any trial and error process that I believe all of us are having to this day, we'll find out. We'll find out who clicks with us, who doesn't. Sometimes things might end out not as nice as it would be ideal to be, but those are part and parcel of life, part and parcel of every struggle. And personally, I would say I wouldn't have any of it different because it all shaped me into the person that I am today. I can only tell people that because I've experienced that. So look forward to the richness of your daughter's life. It's going to be an amazing one.
And that is an awesome way to end, right? Because a wise man once told me, with good friends, and God, we can finish the work, And I think believing that when we are doing these things together and wanting to work together, and I think the other thing that I picked up also is we cannot avoid people that will ostracize you. So I think you got to accept that. There will be people that will not understand. There will be people that will make it difficult. There will be people that will distance themselves. Even good friends sometimes. But that doesn't mean that there will be that everybody will do it. Because there are people that care. There are people that will support you. There are people that will help you move forward.